Welcome back, everybody. We are here at Lal Park for more of the LCK Summer. I am Valdez. With me is Papa. I'm on a little bit of my last leg here. I'm getting really sick and hoarse, but hopefully Papa can help me carry this broadcast to the end of Jin Air versus SANDBOX. Should be, everybody's kind of waiting for Jin Air's one moment to step up and come to the plate, but SANDBOX looking pretty good this summer, Papa.
It's a Jin Air game, so we kind of leave the cat out of the bag and say that it's going to be very difficult for Jin Air to find many inroads, but there are many different routes to your first victory. You don't necessarily have to do your best action on the Rift early or in TFT for that example. You can try tanking for a while and then hope that you'll get that item pickup that turns things around. In League of Legends, is that a specific pick they've been preparing? Because we've seen already some spicy attempts from them. We've seen Kai'Sa jungle already this week, so feels like anything is possible, but Jin Air, the winning ingredient, does seem to elude them so far. Will it come at some point? We've never had the 0-18 team, and yet Jin Air in 2019 does feel like the recipe for history to be made.
Absolutely. So we'll see what they can do here as SANDBOX, definitely everybody's got their chips on their table. And I want to take a look at their lineup here and the rest of their matches. They have Jin Air, and then they have Dumlin, actually. So definitely a kind of back and forth for SANDBOX. It hasn't been like a stretch of hard games and then a stretch of easy games. I feel like they've been through the ringer this time around, and they've proven themselves so far.
They're 6-1, right? So that's not even with a Jin Air game, which you would normally pencil in as an auto victory. So they're pushing for 8-1, which would be first place overall, or at least a taste of it at the top of the table. Wait and see if they're going to be able to do that. But when it comes to standings, it's second versus 10th. It's not double 07, it's just 07. But Jin Air, they're not very secret about their agency right now. They got to find something, and they got to find a roster they like, because they played around with the roster. Saw Malrang and C starting in their previous series. What is the strongest Jin Air? What is the best Jin Air? What is the Jin Air that can pick up a victory that they did over, I believe, the Africa Freaks in spring season? They only found that one, but that was enough to get the interview with Minikin, to get that bow in front of the fans. They knew where to walk. They knew how to walk the walk and talk the talk, but do it regularly, Jin Air have struggled. So they come in huge underdogs here. The Jin Air faithful on the left of your screen. Pretty decently packed here. They're going to be empty seats. It's Friday night at 8 p.m. or 8:30 p.m. So some people had better things to do, it turns out. But I'm happy to have everyone here to join us. Jin Air versus SANDBOX. SANDBOX's unstoppable Sandstorm. Well, that's a Pokemon reference right there. This would be their longest winning streak so far, and they're sitting at 5 matches. We're getting the English going here. Thank you, G-Sun, for the English appropriate translation. Guys, if you don't know, game sets and matches are used in all sorts of different ways, but they're just trying to keep it going. Our SANDBOX Gaming, bold tactics for the first one. Well, the Kai'Sa didn't work, so I wonder what's more bold than Jungle Kai'Sa.
Well, we've seen some crazy stuff out of our friend Spirit in the jungle a lot of the time. Maybe we can see him get some inspiration from him, perhaps. Maybe a Lulu to come out, or a Jace in the jungle. I feel like when you're down on your last legs, you're going to have to try some new stuffs. As, SANDBOX have some pretty good stats overall. You see that they have the best first dragon in all of the LCK, and that does reflect down on the bottom side where they have gotten pretty lucky with their dragons as well.
But SANDBOX Gaming, exactly that. They're the guy that has 6 items when you face them in the first round after the PvE round of Teamfight Tactics. All right, Riot said they'd look at the item RNG. Can we please take a look at this Drake RNG? Yeah. SANDBOX Gaming is only getting exactly what they need.
And they've been using it to win quite a lot, as we're going to take a look at some Jin Air highlights. It was Jin Air versus Griffin. So
this is one of our actual most rewarding things, the Jin Air highlights from their most recent series, because sometimes there's very few samples to choose from. So you get to watch this one. That's where Sword died. Remember, he's on Griffin. They're good. They killed him. And that's all we got. That's all we got, guys.
Well, we found 1 or 2, so that's better than 0.
Stop talking, Valdez. I love you, but stop talking. We're going to need that voice of yours.
I'm fine.
Yeah, you sound hoarse, and not in a BoJack Horseman way.
Oh.
You gotta be careful. If they tell you something about taking you to a factory, say no. As SANDBOX Gaming were able to pick up the 2-0 over Gen G. This was Gen G in form. You would have thought that Gen G would have been in a position to actually match up, but unable to. Some good team fighting from SANDBOX. Game 2 was a bit longer than it kind of needed to be, 35 minutes, but it seemed pretty over earlier into the piece. SANDBOX just too good for Gen G, and we'll never know. It feels like, as an analyst, I'm guilty of this. I can never sit there and be so sure that SANDBOX are going to perform on the day, even though they're 6-1. There isn't many more teams for them to face. Surely at some point I have to give in and fully subscribe to SANDBOX Gaming. For some reason, I'm still not there.
And that's kind of been plaguing them for a long time, even since they did enter the LCK. I remember I had them down at the bottom of my list, but they soon were able to turn that around and show everybody that they are a contender here in the LCK. Not going to be going to Rift Rivals, unfortunately. They did get 5th the last time around, but a much better start this time to Summer.
Looking at some of the stats here, Malrang has kind of been their lifeline in the early game, but hasn't necessarily been the person to rely on in terms of kind of a longer season going through losing streaks. We can only speculate to things like the mental side of League of Legends, but it feels like Malrang gets to kind of like those points where he feels battered and he just can't get into the game and just ends up being subbed out. Like, definitely the rhythm isn't there with Malrang always. OnFleek in great form. I think OnFleek and Summit, if you were to pick 2 stars, would be the stars of the show. For the side of SANDBOX Gaming, and Malrang and Lindarang will have a lot of work to do to stay competitive on that top side of the map.
Yeah, so with Jin Air, it is always a question who is going to be playing, as looks like kind of your standard lineup here. All of the quote-unquote starters from the side of Jin Air will be hitting the Rift. You're really enjoying this, Bob, aren't you?
No, I'm not actually laughing at your whole voice. Doesn't it sound a bit harsh when you're like, ah, yes, their quote-unquote lineup for their quote-unquote starting players?
Well,
there's something about the... It's just, it feels the same as the editing on some of their highlight clips, you know? Like, these were their highlights.
These are their starters.
They are.
And, you know, they were at the beginning, and they've been switched up a lot, but you got to admire their tenacity to stay in the LCK. They didn't drop down, and they're still here, still looking for that first win.
And you know what? We don't have franchising. This is not affirmative action. They were better than what challengers had to show, and they stuck in the LCK. So they deserve their spot, even if getting that first victory is something you have to earn, not deserve. No participation award in the LCK. In walks SANDBOX. They look all business. Some dapper jackets. I gotta talk to the SANDBOX guys. I really do like the zip up that we always see, especially Joker in. Comet also coming back. He certainly had more positive things to say about his coaching than Zephyr, who's had to toil a bit on SKT's side. These guys used to be the brain trust behind the Freaks in the past. In walks SANDBOX, all of them in good form, on a streak as well. The SANDBOX fans, that side of the stadium, looking nice and healthy.
You can tell it's their side because it's red. Riot with the nice lighting setup here. The Jin Air side is green. For you guys who are curious, you may not have known that. But yeah, I mean, they're coming out in hordes for every single SANDBOX game and not missing a single one.
We're going to roll out the lineups here. Kellin, Root, Grace, Malrang, and Lindarang. It's kind of been the on-paper lineup you would expect. Remember, Stitch no longer on the active roster. That there is 9 players, so no sub. For Root, no problem. He's been their best player by a long way. He's been very, very good in spring and summer, but he's still a younger player. Not necessarily an 8. I believe he's like 21 or 22, so he's definitely been around. But this is, of course, starting a pro region for the first time, and you still have kinks to work out when it comes to adapting to pro play. Speaking of pro play, Summit, OnFleek, Dove, Ghost, and Joker. I've been most impressed with Dove this season. I always saw him as the second best on the Flex Assassins, and he would pick something up and be fine, but you kind of always looked at his pick and kind of wish Summit was on the kind of wish Summit was on the Aatrox. This season it's been straight up good, and he's been doing it in style. Valdez have in front of me his champion Ocean. He's well over 10 champions played. I believe he's at 12 already on the season. It might be 13. I have to count quickly. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Unlucky 13 already on the season. An omen or just some more doom to send the way of Jin Air. For a guy who was the second best role player, he's doing pretty well in summer season.
Yeah, I've always liked Dove. I think he's very consistent in either being mediocre that last time around in spring, or for this season just being straight up good. So definitely like his play style.
And that's what we're looking for from Jin Air Valdez. Looking for them to be straight up good. We want to be excited about Jin Air. We want to tweet glad planes to the faithful. I missed the glad plane. I'm not sad about it, so I don't tweet the sad plane, but I assume it is. It is definitely in nebulous waters. SANDBOX, they're on red side against Jin Air, so the target bans aren't necessary. You would assume we already know their bans. Power level bans, that would be Karma, Sejuani, and Yuumi. The Yuumi one can be kind of messed around with. Do they dare not ban Sejuani at second ban?
Well, we didn't see Sejuani the first time around. Did get banned all 3 times. Would not be surprised to see it banned again. That's every play-by-play's dream when they're on the red side and you're like, oh yeah, I know exactly what is going to be coming their way. Very common bans.
But you know what we don't know? What the first pick that slips out is. Because Azir is it sometimes, Xayah has been at Nautilus, is it for at least the FLICKR Freaks, and I would group them with perhaps Home Alive as a first pick Nautilus kind of team. Tahm Kench to threaten the Sona lane is also a possibility. Now, this is the sort of choice that some teams around the world's fans are not fans of because of the whole not on an AD carry, like SK Telecom fans, for example, don't want to see Teddy on the Sona. They're threatening said Sona. SANDBOX don't seem worried about it, and to be fair, I haven't necessarily been inspired by SANDBOX's play against Sona Tahm Kench lanes because they kind of often just let the Sona do her thing. And yes, they can make a cool shot call to turn it around, but if you give enough Sonas a 7 to 9 minute quest cash-in, I think you lose more often than you win in a league like the LCK.
Would have to agree, but we'll have to wait and see if they do lock in that Sona. First and foremost, they're going to start with the Corki. And you mentioned it before, how Corki and Sona together can be pretty ridiculous. Corki's win rate only going up here at the LCK.
Give me a one-word answer to spare yourself. Yes, no to the Sona. What are you thinking? This is the spot. It's either now or never.
I'm a little bit late.
That's okay. It seems like Jin Air Greenwings aren't feeling it. They're going to put root on that traditional marksman, so SKT fans somewhere have some, like, communal understanding of what this means. They're happy to see an 80 carry in the hands of Root. If not him, who else would it be? And it's one with a very nice win rate. Don't need to explain the lane matchup. We know that Varus Tahm after level 1 is super powerful. There was a time where it was Lucian Braum City. The LCK wasn't the best at turning that into wins. It'd still be kind of novel to see, and we're going to see it. So goes to Joker saying, well, we can wield it well. Win rate for Lucian, never above 50% in the LCK. It feels like it does hover around the 40 to 50. Not quite the same champion he once was, and it's a 3-item build, way more often than it is a 2-item build. The Black Cleaver moved on to the Aatrox, whoever ends up being in the top lane, so it will be the Lucian picked up. Worth noting that if you got really creative, and I'm talking really, really, really creative, like Azir top or Azir bot lane, Lucian, pretty damn pimp into Corki.
Hell, why not? You know, just do a bit of flexing on Jin Air, make him feel real bad, kind of like you up against NA.
Do you remember if we had that one Annie top lane game? It's not Annie, one Azir top lane game. I feel like it happened at one point that we had Azir and not mid.
I don't think so.
I think there might have been globally one Azir 80 carry game, because Azir's kind of 80 carry-esque with how he's an auto attack champion, right? But yeah, very unlikely, right, given the scenario. I know there was a time in solo queue where people were messing around with it top, just like the Orianna top that our boy LS loves to talk about it. It has good matchups, but like the lane stuff and the whole map stuff can be tricky. Bans continuing to come through. Aatrox ban. Expected Lindarang pick, but also the Rex side banned away from Malrang.
And no Aatrox yet today. Just nobody really wanted to play it. It didn't get banned at all in the first series that we had. This is actually going to be the first time it is banned or picked in total for today.
Interesting to note, because Aatrox has been so contested in the last few weeks. SANDBOX, we think we know mid and bot lane, so how about a jingle jangle? That'd be fun to see. OnFleek is a when in doubt Lee Sin player. We have quite a lot of those in the LCK. You either are or you aren't. There isn't really a middle ground. I guess the closest would be Tarzan, who's like been really trending on it recently, but isn't classically a Lee Sin player. We'll lock it in. No matchup that Lee Sin really hates, but obviously some that are better than others. You know who's fallen away? The Viking, the last Viking in Olaf has just disappeared this week, much to kind of our appreciation because it's a pick for other regions. When we have Rift Rivals, we might see some big boy Olafs, but those are the ones from the LPL. Feels like the Korean ones just can't make the same work done.
Yeah, I mean, especially this year, hasn't found much success, a laughably low win rate so far, but we're kind of rolling it back now. Jin Air watching the last series saying, okay, how about Corki and Nico? See if that can work, but then Malrang going back onto his Xin Zhao.
And it's kind of Olaf's long-lost brother when it comes to the impact on games, high-impact early-game jungler. So a score and the Lulu mid lane combo that we had yesterday from KT not actually come to fruition. All right, the Pyke here would be a lane Pyke, but I assume it's just a fun hover. I could be wrong. Remember, this is probably the last week. This is SANDBOX's last time to play solo lane Pyke. They're going to play it. SANDBOX wants to get a solo lane Pyke game in, or is it a bot lane Pyke going in with the Braum? We don't know. But with the huge nerf to his E that comes in on 9:13, and we should be on 9:13 when the LCK resumes, it's SANDBOX's last time playing on 9:12 because they won't be at Rift Rivals. We're getting a Pyke in a lane, and that is always something to shout about. I think it'll be me doing the shouting.
Yeah, slowly dying over here. Papa, you might have to pick up the play-by-play as we go along. We'll see how long I last.
All right, I'm play-by-play, you're analyst. We can do this. I've not tried it, I haven't practiced for it, but you know what? Just like first-time ranked players, I'm in there.
Let's give it a shot, you know? I'm sure it'll go very smoothly, although you won't have much follow-up. I'll just say, yeah, that was good.
We'll do the thing where I'm shouting even though I'm using the color, and you're like, yeah, cool. I'm like, thanks, man.
I can do some analysis. We'll see what I got. We'll see how it goes.
We know what you got. What you got is top tier, Valdez, but you also got some sickness on you today, and I say down with the sickness, but not the way like the song. In this particular case, we got Jin Air on the Rift. Varus Tom Kench wanted to avoid a awkward level 1. They got a power jungler and some laners that are pretty flexible and can make things happen, specifically the Nico, so we'll see if anyone goes there. What do you think when you roll around the SANDBOX side?
Well, I'm very confident in Dove's Azir overall. They have a very strong bot lane, obviously, for good priority there. I think Summit's doing a little bit of flexing.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe having a bit of fun in the top lane. We'll see what they have. They have some good, strong early game with Dove to back them up late. So let's jump into game 1 and see what happens. Somebody did the chant early. And
speaking of early,
okay,
we're rolling straight in here. Papa picking up play-by-play for today with Valdez a little bit needing of medical assistance. SANDBOX rolling in. Remember, their level 1 is ultra super duper Wombo God tier. They got the Braum, which already is a good sign, but Pyke, devilishly strong level 1 champion. Left Chase with the Lee Sin as well. Standard thing to do when you see so many people invading is to go put down your own wards on top side. The one time this didn't happen was if you remember the Griffin game where they fake invaded and then collapsed on someone going for a counter ward. That's not to happen, so that means that red buffs are completely information up. And SANDBOX are the team that'll want to do things, so they've got the Pikes. So the Pyke doesn't want to sit in lane and get poked out. He wants to make chaos happen. So what do we ask for from today? All right. You're probably going to win, SANDBOX. How do you win? What does it look like? If you're going to play Pyke top, it better look action-packed. So if this is a 40-minute snooze fest, Valdez, you best be in there.
Yeah, but they are going up against the First Blood King in Malrang. Guy loves to get action early. As speaking of which, Summit having some good fun up in the top side.
It's got Aftershock in the lane. It's, you know, normally the keystone to go, but I think you have some flexibility when you're in solo. We've seen Electrocute be rolled in from time to time. OnFleek rolling up. He's going red to red. Now, this is a really cool path given the matchup, because you think about Lee Sin versus Xin, and you think, wow, Xin level 3, lots of damage, a lot of auto attacks, so you proc the red buff a lot because he has the 3 Talon Strike. If he doesn't have a red buff, he's still, you know, annoying, but you're kind of cropping off what? Like maybe 120 to 150 worth of true damage coming through in the early game. I don't hate it as a path, and it also ends the vertical jungling that you first assumed. A ward goes down here, and this is one of those games where SANDBOX is doing a lot. It has obvious merit with denying red buffs, and also, whatever Jin Air prepped for, this is going to definitely be one that you can't completely suspect.
And Malrang kind of lost here in the jungle. Comes up to the Raptors, sees them just being taken by OnFleek.
We call this
awkwardly back.
Yeah, we call this getting 3-buffed, but in a very creative fashion. He's definitely going to feel really annoyed by this. Now, Jin Air can walk in, put down a ward, and make this blue buff require backup, require assistance, maybe buy time for the Xin Zhao to get there. But if they don't have a ward, which we can actually tell they do not, actually gets very tricky for them to contest blue. So unfortunately, the 3-buff is happening.
And it all comes down to that level 1 play that they were making happen with their amazing level 1 comp. And yeah, I mean, it's good. You know, if you're a SANDBOX fan, you don't want to see them crawl over the line. You want to see them, you know, knock that plane out of the sky and get a really one-sided 2-0. If not, then, you know, could raise some questions.
And that's why I really love double round robin leagues, because we get big team versus big team, who wins? Okay, now I feel like this team is better, but we also get big team against the field, which one does better in that particular regard, and both of them are relevant at power calculations. The only kind of team recently that doesn't fit into that idea, there's a nice little trade there from Dove. Remember, the Corki needs his first item to get a bit stronger, to get a bit of oomph into his trades. The only kind of holdout is Griffin, right, where you feel a little bit dispassionate after they kind of slammed regular season twice, but couldn't turn it into big matches. That's unfortunately where some of the more negative nicknames come in. But usually, if you can slam the field and win the regular season big games, you're just a great team. SANDBOX threatening that, but no knowledge of it. OnFleek actually here for the counter gang. He's level 3. Xin Zhao is going to go in and look for a trade here. I'm picking this one up. Don't worry, Valdez. You can do the color afterwards. Not much color yet, though. OnFleek just wants his Krugs for level 4.
Malrang in the right spot at the right time. You can see he was waiting there, just going for back, seeing if he can spot that Lee Sin. But overall, they know there's a ward in there. It was actually pinged, so should be cleared out. Keeps Pyke safe, keeps everybody safe here. No way that Malrang is going to burst the Lee Sin from 100 to 0 in that spot, but is able to get in there. And again, he doesn't have much else to do because he was 3-buffed and had some of those camps taken away as TP is coming in now.
See what OnFleek wants to do. The TP is suspiciously aggressive, so Lindarang makes the right move, just uses W, Shapeshifter or Shapesplitter, whatever it is, gets the hell out of there. Smart thing to do, but Summit gets to do what we've seen from some of our other good top laners, those pesky top lane freezes. Just feels like that's the meta of the last week and a half. The top lane has been way swingier than some of our farm fests we've had in the past, which is a takeaway. Now, something to call out is that Lucian Braum have been picked, and right now, no priority around the bot side apart from a control ward spotting on the Drake. They're down in CS, so they're trying to play defensive side as Summit's required a bit more resources. You don't pick the Pyke to win later.
No, not really, as the Mountain Drake going to be the first one of the game here. There is vision from both sides on that right now, so nobody going to make a big move towards that just yet. You were talking about priority in the bottom side will potentially dictate who will be able to take that very valuable first Mountain Drake.
Joker walks up nice and strong and allows Ghost to TP straight on the minions for, you guessed it, some of them minion wave manipulation freezes that are the talk of the town recently. If you're wondering why there's 2 control wards of different colors in the pit and no one's cleared them, they're both, all right, if we play elsewhere, we want to know definitely the time you're starting something so we can contest it wards. It's the new meta. Pop one over the wall and you'll be fine. Uses time just to clear it out, so using his mid lane Fryo at the time to make something happen. First package of the game spawns in 1 minute, so the back time is around 8 minutes. Can be very interesting for the Corki. Something that you can work around. Malrang is snuck in here now. He's level 5, but he's in, so he does have a lot of damage output. Still no red buff, as we know. In fact, his red buff's being stolen, so that actually tells SANDBOX that Malrang's probably nearby.
They're waiting until the last second as here we go. Gonna jump on the Ghost. They do get that flash away.
Get the hard commit there. Wind becomes lightning, but the moment that OnFleek goes to red and can kill it and Xin Zhao's not there, the question is, where is Xin Zhao? And it has to be camping a lane. So, smart read there. Don't even need to flash to Ghost and Joker. They'll blow a heal no more. Is OnFleek actually coming? He's level 6 to go for the burst here. He actually hits the kick and the auto as the wall is traveled over. It's first blood, but it's to the Lee Sin side of a Xin Zhao favored early matchup.
That's OnFleek for you. Guy's been performing like an MVP for quite a while for this team. Is just able to get him. Didn't see quite how the initiate happened there.
He was camping a brush, Valdez, because he had enemy red buff control. He had just taken the buff. And where's Xin Zhao going to go after he fails his bot lane gank? Now, the safest place to go is to recall the tails between your leg and rush top side, because you probably have no control over your red side jungle. Instead, Malrang was a bit greedy. You can make that play in solo queue. It doesn't work in pro play. And OnFleek eats his lunch and eats the Drake as well.
Summit over here trying to take a good trade, but Lindarang got the Nikes on today. And as you mentioned, you know, just good read from OnFleek, a bit greedy from Malrang, but they get the extra Mountain Drake, which is just really the icing on the cake at this point, very early on in the game.
You notice the trades up top. Nico's not that different from Jace. Here's the replay. He was on Raptors, and the vision there would have just been out from Malrang. Love it here. Kick into the resonating strike. I believe an auto was also buffered after that Q, so the Xin Zhao flash, he thought he might be able to flash away. One auto left. He was wrong. Not much damage in the game, but yeah, you saw the trades between the Nico and the Pyke. It's very much the same as the Jace matchup that Wanda preferred it to against SKT a couple of times. Take a lot of chip damage. Here's the all-in attempt. Is everything going to connect? Lindarang, they walk out of the Pot Blossom, chase him down. This is SANDBOX playing with their food.
OnFleek again. He got that early start. Has the Warrior Enchant already. And with Lindarang up in the top side up against the enemy Pyke, who does have a lot of CC. If he lands it, it's just a super easy gank, even with the flash. No real hope, as didn't look like there was any real vision there either.
Now they're trying to at least pull off something. Notice the timer. Literally as poor Shelly has put on her makeup and shown up on time at 10 minutes. They're there to try to take it down, and this is where the back timing from Summit being necessitated. So, this is a nice play from Jin Air. Not often do we see him pack it up and get there as a 4-man unit, but given how the side lanes are going, and with the fact that Root and Kellin definitely had priority bot, the only good news story of the early game was that priority. They take it, they jam it. Malrang probably going to want to share in some of this gold. They'll go topside, and how much of a defense can Pyke put up? Almost none. Will anyone back him up? We'll wait and see.
Summit just being cheeky there as they're trying to push their advantage in the bottom side here, looking for Lindarang.
Knock him off. They pick the first one. The shield comes in. They have to disengage that, and the teleport is drawn. Actually interrupted. I believe it was Kellin's. What comes out? They don't want to play with their food here. Waiting out. The resonating strike would kill, but OnFleek trying to get away. Auto attacks come in from Root. They back him away. The turret is taken on top side for Jin Air.
That's actually a good move for the side of Jin Air. They actually take the gold lead just barely, but that's partially because this down on the bottom side hasn't come to fruition just yet. Ghost and Joker, 2-on-1, going to be able to push at least one turret plate for now.
But, I mean, just look at the turret plates, and I think this is what NA and EU fans are seeing in Rift Rivals, if you ignore the role swaps and things like that, the clearest kind of delineator, because they're both playing League of Legends, right? But why is EU looking so much better? Is you can look back at the game and always ask the question, or at least consider that going through the mind of the EU players is, how do we get more gold now, more plates now, more injection into the game? How much aggression is required? Oh, it's below 90%, let's do it. And that's been the difference. Is what's really noticeable is EU has been much better about getting early gold. Jin Air, in just leaving bot lane with their priority, used the one thing that was working, the bot lane priority, into a Rift Herald, into a entire top turret at 11 minutes. So credit to them. It's why they're competitive in gold, even though OnFleek's flexing 1v1 against Malrang.
Yeah, the jungle matchup isn't going to be the only thing, of course, but OnFleek trying to make as much of his great early game as possible, hanging around the mid lane. Not going to be ganking a Corki, but potentially looking for a counter gank here or a maneuver.
I got a bit of a cheeky grin because his flash is off and it's Lee Sin, right? So theoretically, you could try a low percentage eye candy kind of engage onto Corki. Very tricky, like you mentioned. Watching for the face check here. We'll see what OnFleek does. Q hits again. He's been on point with that. Waiting out over the wall. Follows the flash. The kick comes in, but great health at a great time. Still going to be eliminated by that high gold here. They're looking for more. Chasing down 2 defensive flashes, and Dove gets the Azir plays. They're going to tie up Malrang. He goes down as well. The door's the wrong way, but so's Jin Air. But here's the Jin Air backup. Take down a couple, and OnFleek get disengaged. Seems like SANDBOX being cleaned up, and Joker's going to have to hightail it through the enemy jungle.
It was looking so good for SANDBOX to start, but the overcommitment, perhaps. They went so deep into the enemy jungle as apparently this is not over. His root is so dead. Down you go. Joker
off the execution. Very nice. So it could have been an ultra disaster. It's still, Jin Air have done surprisingly well at mitigating losses. And if you're against a team way better than you, which SANDBOX falls under, just mitigating losses is better than some of Jin Air's plays earlier. What are your biggest takeaways from this extended passage of play? The flashes early, the great health at a perfect time because it means the kick won't work, but we all know that interaction. Don't care about your great health, you're still going to get killed by the death from below.
You see how deep they go? Looks really good, but so much AoE damage comes in, and Varus and Corki together, 2 of the best of them when everybody is grouped up, easily able to just shred through the relatively squishy side of SANDBOX.
And then OnFleek is cute here. He jukes upwards, early chase, and then the moment that the challenging smite comes in, Varus is going straight to the bin. He basically got sold to the shop in TFT terms. He's not coming back for a little while. Teleport is up, though. Root back on the screen. They rebought Varus, it turns out, for this particular analogy.
And now he's an assassin.
Oh!
Or no, is that a Blade Master?
Yeah, I think it's a Blade Master, actually. Assassin is the Young's Ghostblade one. Wave clear use of the package. It's non-conventional, but I can accept it. Dove comes into the mid lane, back to the wave clear. And if we're looking at strictly numbers, there's one that jumps out to me, Valdez. The Pyke is almost CS for CS with the Nico, which tells you that in spite of a very rough range versus melee matchup and also some top attention, you know what I think happened here? I think they took the turret early, the Shelly kept charging up the top side, and it feels like Pyke has just used kind of lane state to keep up very, very close in CS.
He's having a good time here on patch 9.12. We'll see how it goes the next patch around, if we even see any more lane Pikes, or if they just go extinct.
It seems really unlikely. We saw like casters like Rusty, which, by the way, happy birthday to former LPL and current OPL caster Rusty. His birthday today. We already mentioned G-Suns. Talk about how even for lane Pyke, it's a little bit trickier to freeze and hold and do things with waves, because now your E on the live patch does not affect lane minions or monsters. So it's a pretty big disaster on that one. You can hook out of the regular version of the Corki Valkyrie, but in this case it does arrive late. Of course, the game where Papa had to play-by-play had to be a top lane Pyke game, guaranteed to be ripe with action. I'm ready for more of it. It's a fun novelty for me. Usually I get to just listen and choose for a little comment to say. We're doing a little bit of changing his appearance here. They're going to pick up the blue buff, but they don't get to give it to the board.
They're trying to hunt him down as it's OnFleek, it's Summit. Everybody is making moves in the mid lane, but so far, no deaths for Grace, who, even though he is down on CS, was able to have a nice play in the jungle, get all that AoE damage down, got a bunch of gold. Now he has these stopwatch on top of the Trinity Force, and we'll see if we have a crazy Corki pop-off again, or what will happen for him.
There will be craziness. I'm guaranteed to lose track of a team fight because there's no true front line, and one side has Pyke explosions, the other one's going to have double AD carry. So things are going to die fast, and Pop Blossoms thrown in are going to be fun. I'm actually not 100% clear, but I assume if Xin Zhao falls low, ults, and Pyke is not within his perimeter, it still kills. But I have never seen the interaction between Pyke out of range of the, I guess it's still called Crescent Strike, and the interaction with Death from Below. Maybe we'll learn something here today, just like Papa's ability to play by play. Right now I'm giving myself a solid 3 out of 10. Rolling in here is SANDBOX, contesting the ward. Malrang around, gonna go in straight with the charge. OnFleek is lying in wait. Oh, the ships in the night here are always fun to track. OnFleek walks up. We know he's the real jungler. They back away. People to dive in mid, but I'm guessing no further action.
Not just yet. Kind of hanging around down on the bottom side. We have another Mountain Drake here in 1 minute. So for SANDBOX, if they could rotate down and try to go for some kind of dive before the TPs are up, you'll notice that nobody on the side of Jin Air has a TP, but Lindarang is close.
OnFleek thinks he's in a really good spot to pull off a kick on Corki. We already talked about how that's kind of not even worth considering during some points in the game. But you see here, Mr. Voyage comes in. It would have been a 3v2, but a very shallow one. That feels like one impacted by the Abyssal Voyage nerf at level 1. It is a bit of a hop rather than the jump it was before. But a spotting ward over the wall. Rammus gank palm. Your solo queue against Rammus. Consider a lane ward of some sort, but pretty good against the new Abyssal Voyage. Still they're looking to contest here, but another OnFleek ahead of the play. OnFleek not revealed the backside. Will we see him come in for a kick? His flash is up. They could go for something crazy here. The fight starts and Kellin is alone in the middle. They're going to take the easy kill. They're not going to look for more. They could have considered double. But sometimes you just take your single and you back away.
And sometimes when the enemy is going 2v3, you have to wonder, hey, why exactly are they going for this? Why are they trying to fight us in this manner? And it's because there is a sneaky ninja nearby.
It was one of those who watches the Watchmen scenes because Jin Air thought they were ahead of the play. But the thing that they disregard here is that they were the ones to make an Abyssal Voyage play. It doesn't take a genius to be that Xin Zhao is still going to be bot lane, so why is SANDBOX walking up? And I think you had the same idea. The team was trying to just go simple, right? See hero, kill hero, try to outnumber. It doesn't work. Grace has decided that he is a wave-clearing Corki with his special delivery, which I find very disappointing. I'm much more of the Mickey special delivery and into the fog of war scenario rather than the wave clear, but what can you do? Like, I'm sorry, if you're gonna pick Corki and wave clear with a special delivery, pick Rumble mid and ult the minion wave. It's way more reliable. It's on a shorter cooldown.
That is true. Maybe someday we'll get Rumble back in the mid lane, but not today. It's all about Corki back in the LCK, and I'm not too dissatisfied with that. I like my Corki in the mid lane.
Now, you know I'm a Rumble guy. What's Rumble's ult in TFT if and when he gets rolled in? Because Cho'Gath already had his Q, right?
Yeah, I think it's probably gonna be something lame like a harpoon. You know Zed, right? He's got his shuriken.
I think it has to be Flame Spitter, right? It kind of has to be Q. As bot lane, we're seeing a trade here. Doesn't really lead to much. My guess is the Q and it toggles on for a little while in an AoE, which...
That's kind of like Garen then at the end of the day, right? Except here...
Maybe the cone is slightly different, but yeah, I'm with you on that one. We'll see if they can find a way to roll into something different. It's probably not going to be a scrap shoot, so we'll leave that one out there. SANDBOX posturing. Remember, we're looking for them to really inject pace into the game. You don't need to get 10 kills on a Pyke comp in the first 10 minutes. That's not how G2 do it. Remember, they were behind for all the Elise ganks from Klid. But it's about around this time, 20 to 30, going like, what do we have? Burst, Reset, Assassin, and 2 Mountain Drakes with a Zerlution. let's play top side. If we get 2 kills, Baron dies instantly. Looking for a pick. Kellin has just been, unfortunately, receiving aggro on this Coin Emperor Tahm Kench. All he can really do is scout. He's walking up and he might be caught in transition. No one sees anyone. But damn, are they close on the mini.
Ships in the night again, as just waiting for the team to group up as 4 here. Lindarang does have his TP just in case anything's going to go wrong. And you can see the way that this lane has kind of gone after Summit got a bunch of items. It's Lindarang sitting back and just catching the wave. And Pyke's really fast, you know, with his W and his Moby boots. He's going to just fly up here to the mid lane.
Bible thumbs in the chat. Every time the Pyke ease through a minion wave and it dies quickly, Pyke mains know the deal. If you're playing solo lane Pyke, that's just something you can't do anymore. Maybe Summit just really wanted to play solo lane Pyke one more time. He can't play it on live, so he rolled it into a game. But yep, that one's gone. The wave clear continues, and if this is still the state, if we are still living in the siesta at 35 minutes into the game, and yes, I'm using that more often now. If you missed the previous game, you should go back and watch that series and learn about the siesta, CSTA. At 35, then suddenly, Pyke wouldn't have really been able to fulfill what we saw from G2, and it'll be a bit of a NA Pyke situation. In the mid lane, TP being drawn. It's a defensive one. SANDBOX get here first. They draw a TP. I didn't actually catch whose that was. I believe it was Reese. That was a response to Ghost there. Good catch there on the minimap, Valdez. See, we're working out this whole telepathy thing.
We got it.
Really important for days like this. I'll keep it from a glue factory, I promise. As, all right, Jin Air. They're going to group everyone around the mid lane. This is an advanced technique. Some know about it. Some are chasing the bot lane OnFleek. Can he find an angle here, Lindarang? Don't want to pre-ult in this scenario. That's your only try to nope tool. He has Zonias as well. So pretty low percentage gank from OnFleek with the added information of Flash and Zonias available. Revealing bot side means Jin Air gets this vision around top. SANDBOX though, when in doubt farm, but how much longer can you pull that off? The burst range I'm guessing is about 600, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, he's still waiting here, and the Zonias is going to be important. You want to keep her under CC the entire time, but it's not easy when it's Pyke and Lee Sin. So just waiting, seeing if she face checks or anything like that. OnFleek still in the bush.
This is basically SANDBOX shaking Jin Air and saying something's going to fall out as this Infernal Drake's about to spawn. Bones here hits onto Kellin. They can try and chunk him out. Remember, the Grey Health timing has to be early here, otherwise the death from below will register a kill. If Pyke comes on the screen, they back away, but what I mean by shaking here is that there's a lot of things happening. Bot lane's pushing up. Who's going to try to come over? They're going to catch an Abyssal Voyage on the way. Someone's going to try to face check around the Infernal and pick up a kill there. Malrang, to his credit, staying defensive. All flashes up in this game. All 10. Lindarang chunked out. He is one of the trickiest for the Pyke to take down. OnFleek aggroes the moment that he sees Lindarang, knowing that he has to teleport back and back to make it happen. Should be a free Infernal to SANDBOX.
Summit, though, wants a little bit more. He is going to swing it wide, unfortunately.
Be careful what you wish for. I asked for no more wave clear special deliveries. That one was just a disengage one.
The worst kind, of course. The tail between your legs with the Corgi. Just going home.
Wait, what if we could group Corki, Heimerdinger, and Rumble in TFT, and then they have something where if you have all three, you can have the Bouncing Bomb, the Equalizer, and the Special Delivery. Kind of, all of them have line spells, right? Could that be like their clan or noble tag or whatever, that they can actually use the abilities we want to see if you have all three out there?
Line spell, guys.
Yeah. I found a way to get Equalizers in the game. I just really like Rumble, guys.
They're
sorry.
Spellcasters.
Yeah, we don't have
sorcerers and
elementalists.
So spellcaster. There you go. They don't do much else, right? They just kind of.
You're not wrong, but I feel like I needed a bit of a higher level of excitement from you today. Perhaps not the day for that.
Yeah.
Summit's level 50, so with double lethality, we know he's doing some sick pentakill plays. If you can get to one, Bone Skewer being thrown out there goes wide this time. We're just juking down. I feel like everyone juked down, so perhaps that was just a wide one that time. Could have been better. Doesn't matter. Coin Emperor going to take what now feels like his customary 200 damage every time he walks near a wall. Checking out the map state. Nico's far away. Does have teleport, but has to huff it up. The river to find something here. Jin Air just trying to be ultra safe. You're not likely to find much in the mid lane, but you're not likely to lose much. So this is the safe spot. Say the safe word, Jin Air. As you're in the mid lane, Bone Skewer comes through. Still no Devour being used. They want to get a cooldown of some sort. They can't force one. That's another ult. Joker is known to do this. The Bone Skewer hits. Pyke just gets blown up though on the engage. The 5,000 strike is hit as well, and SANDBOX were just too stubborn around trying to find something, and they go down.
We've seen this before as well up against weaker teams where you just try to force something so hard, and
it's the Joker way on the Braum, isn't it?
Yeah.
We see him attempt to engage with the Braum so many times in the past. It's just not a good look for SANDBOX.
It just turns into this weird ARAM situation, and you miss a couple spells and one person goes forward, and that's basically the end of you.
Well, that's a bit ominous for SANDBOX, because again, it's one of those, hey, last look before you go over to Rift Ride. Oh, no, that's not a Rift Ride. Well, last look before the Rift Ride was break. You know, we're not going to see them on stage for a while. How are you looking? And they were looking pretty hot before this match, but this is a little bit sloppy from them. They've attempted some styling, but they haven't set up their styles well, but they're on the Baron. They're starting this one up. You can't see the health bar. We're going to see it now. They do a fast Baron, Infernal, double mountain. Jin Air need to be decisive. Any defensive step might be a step too far. 4,000 on the Baron. Malrang trying to walk up. Will they get into Smite? He does it, he gets it, he steals it away! SANDBOX lose out on the Baron after losing out on 2 kills. This is a big swing moment, and I see you shaking your head.
It's so hard for me to fathom how they even let him in the pit. They had so many ways to just pop him away. No Emperor's Divide, no Braum Ultimate, nothing. And even Summit was in the pit. They just let Malrang waltz on in and flash Smite. It's not what you're going to do. And once again, it kind of feels like they're taking Jin Air a little bit too easily today.
Jin Air were known, before they were really down the dregs this year, as the team that was the Robin Hood. They would rob from the best teams and give to the poor. And is this that Jin Air coming back, or SANDBOX earning the title? Because they've been so good against some of our best teams, but they're playing with their food in draft, they're playing with their food in teams. You play the Pyke against Jin Air and people say, come on guys, really? You know, like against Jin Air, the nameplates are real here. You lose with the Pyke against Jin Air, and then people get really mad. The SANDBOX fans unload their anger, and Jin Air, they haven't got many Barons in 2019, let alone 2019 summer. OnFleek looking for a bit of poke, but this time it's Kellin walking up. Remember, he's going to have to use a stasis. Do they have a position for this? They should use the ults early. Xinjiao trade space. Dead is fighting front to back. Joker's just dead in the front line. No one can do damage to Malrang. Trading places here. SANDBOX feel like the 10th place team, and Jin Air are grinding out a lead.
SANDBOX still ahead in Drakes and Golds, and they just, I feel like it's really gotten to their head at this point, and Jin Air are just steamrolling them for a couple of fights now in a row. It's kind of unfortunate they didn't get a better Drake than the Cloud Drake. Otherwise, this would have been even worse than it already is.
The Jin Air fans are in just like cautious glee. It's like the happy golf claps if your golf pro is doing well. A very nice swing straight down the fairway. Beautiful. Meanwhile, it looks like a funeral on the SANDBOX side. We're seeing the fight here. Lindarang's just catching OnFleek. I don't think the stasis is enough. Azir's pretty far away. Okay, it's Lee Sin. Tell a lie. Ward jump will get him away. But it's just another little moment where if you add enough of them together, you shake it up, you add a little bit of cream on top. I think that's a Jin Air victory recipe list, Valdez.
Props to Jin Air for never giving up. And
remember,
now,
Summit doesn't have that much disengage. It's only the E to get him away here. Man, that's a lot of trifling. A lot of trifling. It's adding up, and if I'm the SANDBOX coach, and you remember, he's always hooting and hollering in our replays, I would be really angry in this game. Kellin walks up, he gets hooked, but the plan after this is you think, okay, Jin Air might just fall apart. No, they're winning, so Xin Zhao goes into the middle, and look at how much damage, like 3,000 damage worth of spells and auto attacks just bounce off him. He's John Wick in the movie. No one can touch this man. And in this shootout, it's being won by Jin Air. Maybe SANDBOX haven't watched Parabellum.
They're struggling to do a lot of things, including not watching the right movies, and it's definitely a little bit disappointing if you're a SANDBOX fan to have this come in. We said at the beginning, like, they need to come in and send a message to themselves and everybody that we are going to crush Jin Air just like a lot of other big teams, but that has not happened tonight, Papa.
And I gotta say, like, I hope that the sort of viewers that enjoy the LCK, when it comes to the teams they follow, let's say, for example, SANDBOX fans, are kind of where I'm at with things I like, in that if they go on to win this game, it's not okay that they won. It's the fact that given the matchup against a team that you're supposed to be, you're supposed to win in a certain way, and so far SANDBOX have not. In 32 minutes, they have been the second best team against Jin Air, and if I'm a fan of SANDBOX, that shouldn't be enough. Still, SANDBOX are ahead in goal, 1,300. They've got some sick Drakes, Double Mountain Infernal, already put together, an Elder spawns in 3 minutes, and Jin Air are the sort of team you can run around and they get a bit confused and you can pick up a win from it. So it's still far from over, but SANDBOX have been the second best team, and a team that's 6-1, that shouldn't be accepted.
Well, they do have a lot of tools in their kit, at least. The Varus getting pretty fed. The Corki now, once again, really massive, 2-0 and 4. They have even the Nico doing pretty decently up in that top lane, and they are down in the Drakes. We'll have to see what happens when this Elder spawns, or if any action happens before that for about 2.5 minutes.
Varus is, he's got a lot of items going on his side, 75% crit and ability of the Ruin King, but Dove has quietly put together those 3 items and a stopwatch where you say, now we can initiate and delay and put down a Sun Turret. It's one of those Azir overloaded, bloated scenarios where in the LCK, if the games go long enough, why not Azir? It's something a lot of teams have fallen into. SANDBOX feel like they're trying to put together a tasty trap for someone to fall into. It's usually Kellin's going to get kicked over the wall here. He's going to scoot into the team. Will get taken down eventually in this one. Doing a bit of damage on the back end. You see now there's plenty of claws behind Grace when he tries to kill OnFleek on the back end. Flash is used. 1 kill taken. Can SANDBOX turn this into a Baron? The timing's oh so woeful for Kellin. Will he have teleport when he comes back in 30 seconds? He might need it. SANDBOX patrolling around the Baron. Jin Air know they can't give away this Baron. And you have to feel like SANDBOX have a better plan than allowing Malrang to steal it again.
Well, this time the Braum ultimate is available. They have Summit out here on the outside.
Malrang dives in, ults, this is buying time, it's buying time. Notice the Drake still leashed. Baron still leashed in this case, but will start to heal up again. Trying to buy time for Kellin. Wait and see if there's a switch over. If you can walk back, you'd prefer. You might say, okay, but why not teleport to be there first? Oh, that was close. Grace had to flash away. No, was able to get away from the ult and that one. And Lindarang shows up as well. But you want to hold on to a summoner here for Kellin, just in case you can get that cheeky smite, Valdez, and be there for some Baron secure. Jin Air continue to return to the mid lane. You would think that just group mid would be something that SANDBOX could take advantage of, but they've fallen for the bait multiple times so far. And we look at this gold lead, it was at 1.3 thousand. It's close to that again, but it means way less when we hit the 36-minute mark.
Finally, Lindarang on the Nico. Able to fool Summit that time around. Definitely some fancy stuff, so props to him by baiting that ultimate out. Not something you see every day from the Nico players who just kind of forget about that passive.
And not the build we see every day from the Xin Zhao players. It is Spirit Visage after Warrior and then working towards Guardian Angel. So it's a, crap, that's a lot of magic damage from Azir. I want to ignore him and we can focus down other targets approach. So far, so good from the Xin Zhao. This is the Sun Turret, in case you're unclear. We'll delay things again. What's the next moment in the game? We're playing one lane. The only person who's breaking old ARAM rules before we had the Howling Abyss is going to be the Lucian Special Delivery, once again used in ironic fashion. SANDBOX popped over the wall, but that's not how it's going to work. It's on temporary vision. Can they catch Jin Air in transition? Again, what you want to do with the Pyke is when you're walking between two things you got to go to, that is where Pyke comes in and steals your lunch money. He can't be an old school bully though, because so far Jin Air have staunchly refused to make a mistake. They are out of position for mid lane. Grace takes a bit of poke. Finally, and I mean finally, 36 minutes in, mid lane outer goes down.
I love how now SANDBOX not taking any big chances. They're just using the Azir and their poke to zone them out, and they have double mountains. They can do these Drakes so fast.
But how do you defend two places at once as Jin Air? You're strong, you should be able to fight, is the first thought. Elder Dragon down to 4,000. This is a denier Elder from Jin Air. They don't have the buffs. Chains of Corruption do hit, but cleansed easily by Joker. Re-engage here, we're on the objective. It's going to be secured by Jin Air. Not going to be able to be picked up by OnFleek again. It's when it's come to those smite battles, they've been Malrang every time. I see my new analyst shaking his head. Jin Air got another one. This one's just in denial, but you know what the cute thing is? The second one stacks, and suddenly it's 5 minutes of a lot of power next time around.
SANDBOX kind of looked lost today. I'm not really sure what happened, but after they got punked in the enemy jungle, I think they've just been a little bit off center, and it's shown now multiple times. They kind of leashed that Elder and didn't have a chance to get on in there. They're still ahead somehow, but now the Elder Drake is out here and Baron is available. Somehow they'll have to stop it against the Elder buff.
And that's the thing, is that now SANDBOX have to be like, all right, well, you got to fight around the Baron against a team with the Elder buff. You have to wait that one out, and the timer continues to go. And then if finally SANDBOX get the sort of control wards they want, i.e. not the ones where Jin Air control the river, SANDBOX can just, Jin Air can just say, we'll have a double stack Elder, actually, thank you very much, and trade objectives. So SANDBOX are running shorter and shorter of options apart from just be better at team fighting, which might be the way. Again, we never give it all the way to Jin Air, because they are, unfortunately, more infamous than famous when it comes to closing games. The poke comes out. Grace has a lot of items here. There are a lot of strong frontlines. That Guardian Angel's done. In fact, there's multiple. I see 3. Xin Zhao dives in onto OnFleek, but it seems to be just trying to make an alpha move. Chains of Corruption, it hits Summit, but he has his cleanse ready. This game is oh so close, Valdez.
And it probably shouldn't have gotten to this location, but props to Jin Air for just being ready to pounce on any team that gave them any chance. That has been exactly what happened here, so we'll see what they can do. They're not the team with the double mountain.
All right, we're watching the left side of the screen. OnFleek is in a flanking and also Baron steal position. Jin Air must be asked, where is Lee Sin? Where is Lee Sin? They don't know the answer. They have no information behind the pit, and this is where Jin Air can make mistakes. But the turn is actually very decisive. Malrang into the backline, goes straight out of the fight. Does someone have to die here? The answer is no. Dove splashes up, but look at the line damage and the burn. It's only one Elder. It's only one stack Elder. They force out another member. Dove has to go all the way back with no teleport. They still don't know where OnFleek is. They've got the Twin Shadows. Good use by Lindarang. Tells them exactly where Lee Sin is. Do they put everything into making this play? They do. They're chasing after OnFleek. He's over the wall. Lindarang gonna get rooted. It's not the extended duration, but it's enough. Double flash! And OnFleek gets out. If that was the Reminion, he wouldn't have. Can SANDBOX get Kellin in the middle here? He's not quite in death range. Summit around the back end. Joker trying to hold up. The door is held. Everyone chasing. Still no one is caught, Valdez. But suddenly, if we do this again, the summoner spells won't be there for a hasty exit.
Honestly, you would never expect this from a Jin Air game, but these guys creating a lot of action. You really got to hand it to them with the Elder, knowing exactly when to turn. It looked good. They almost got Ghost on the backside. And if not for that fantastic escape from OnFleek, could have been just the Baron follow-up after getting the jungler. So close, or Jin Air multiple times in a row, but still not over the finish line.
And we have to remember those casualties. Yes, people didn't die, but the tab button doesn't lie on both sides. OnFleek's flash. Lee Sin cannot go for a big kick. We don't have flash up for Ghost either. Door is held. Things for now fine. Malrang, so initiators, flashes down, including Lindarang for a cheeky bait. Watching for the push here. Root in the front, but that, of course, is just the W coming through from Lindarang, trying to get position. Mid lane has been the safe zone for Jin Air, and damn it if they're not going to stay safe here. Pushing up through the mid lane, putting down their poke, just about chipping down that inner turret, but not getting the gold. There's nothing between these teams. 2,000 gold, and the oh-so-tricky time of Elder and Baron with the double Elder and a 4-stack Elder. It feels like both teams wanting that Elder first over the Baron. You wonder if anyone would shift wards. Right now, it's naked around the Elder Dragon spawning spot. It's still a minute 30 away, but Summit gallivants around. He won't find anything. Spotting ward going down. Can they catch someone in recalls here? They suspect the Varus on a recoil. He wasn't even in the brush. That was pretty lazy, actually, coming through from Root. He'll get away with it. Sun turret goes down, and Root, you can't tank that, mate. They're going to lose something from this. Don't laugh, Valdez. Yeah. They're straight on the Baron here because they know that Root's low in health. They're running onto this objective. Jin Air has to come in. They're coming from a predictable spot. The Baron is dying instantly with all the damage, and Jin Air have finally been caught with their pants down a little bit. That's a Baron against the run of play, and SANDBOX take no casualties. However, what should be the cost? No control wards. So unfortunately, Jin Air have to back up because they can't just run at the Elder. It hasn't spawned yet, and if SANDBOX show up quickly, their vision will be unanswerable.
We talked about this before. Azir, once he hits this 35, 40-minute mark, you're just able to do incredible damage in the late game, and that's exactly what he was able to do. Shut down Root so fast for just being just underneath the turret, basically.
And now SANDBOX had to play with their food, push the minion wave, put down the control wards, and Jin Air get nothing. They can't contest. Malrang towards the side. They expect he's there. I believe he walked through a ward. Doesn't matter. He's going to back away. SANDBOX Gaming finally kicking into gear. It took one really wrong move. It wasn't huge, but enough for them to take a Baron with their double Mountain and Infernal. They take down the inner turret. Finally, we're seeing the SANDBOX. That's 6-1. Looking to go 7-1 before their first break of the season. We'll be playing Rift Rivals next week. Obscura lands onto Root, exactly the person you want. And the Kellin goes down. They'll break the base on their first Baron. That's a high-value one. Well, we see a hard engage here. Lindarang hooked as well. Still no use from the Pike ultimate. Health bar's low on each side. Kellin in death range, but the Pike is disengaged. We walk away breathlessly, Valdez, but SANDBOX had taken way more than when the roles were reversed.
Honestly, right now, it's just the Dove show, right? If anyone gets near his soldiers this late in the game, they're just going to blow up. It's so squishy on the left side of the map. And so SANDBOX take a good fight. They don't take the base, but they'll take that Elder. Very much thank you indeed. And now at a minute 40, they can still continue their push, but with 2 buffs on their side with the Baron and the Elder.
I think everyone involved, including us as casters, need our eyes wide open. It's true 6-item AD carries at this point. It's Grace also almost done with his build. He's only got 50% crit, which seems a little bit relieving if you're SANDBOX, as the 75% will no doubt be on the way. SANDBOX pushing up. Sideways not an issue, but Azir's bot lane, so SANDBOX are playing with their food a bit. Shown on minions now. Small moment for Jin Air to try something, but with so many defensive tools here, OnFleek will go in. He's brawling alone, but just going to chunk out Malrang and leave. He probably thought he could have got a Guardian Angel that we didn't see coming. Doesn't find it this time.
The pro gamers know the ranges, right? And if he had a little bit of help from one of his friends with that Elder burn, would have been the kill.
Always held up. Another inhibited turret dies. An afterthought to Elder. So much amp on this damage with Infernal. Elder, double Mountain, turrets die instantly. The culling is far from the dulling, almost blows up Root, and SANDBOX looking to close out the game. They don't have a second minion wave here, so Jin Air might get one attempt at a defense. Malrang clear out this wave. They're playing 1 by 1, but finally it feels like the 1 by 1 plan from SANDBOX leads to a Game 1 victory.
Eventually, we're getting there. It's down to 45 minutes here, but with the Elder coming in. Okay, nice try to catch onto OnFleek.
And he catches big flash over Chains of Corruption. OnFleek goes down. Looking over the map, maybe with the Omus, Pike can get near. Will he commit to this? The answer is no. They can't get Root low, and they get something in return. It's far from the biggest objective, but OnFleek not wantonly being able to throw out the Sonic Wave, take any resonating strike, and force a kill is a small objective to relieve pressure from Jin Air.
Yeah, they shut him down, actually. Take that streak away, so an extra amount of gold into the pockets of our good friend Root, who now has 5 items.
Here's the fallback state, Valdez. It's still turret goes down. It's still confidence down. Malrang did not use his ultimate on the last play, but there is spotting wards on every direction. Baron spawns at 1 minute 50. We're in the silly times of 46 minutes into the game. We've been here too many times recently, mostly in SKT games. The Griffin Series game #1, but also against KT yesterday. Root has a lot of lifesteal. That part is true. Do remember, SANDBOX won't forget this. Flash was used by Root to get that pick, and suddenly, this Tahm Kench is going to need to be catching people out of the kick rather than even just eating early, because a 2-for-1 special, you'll take that with all the damage on the SANDBOX side.
Knight's Vow onto Root. He's going to be trying to become the big carry alongside of Grace. The two of them really have to do the heavy lifting on the side of Jin Air. AP, Nico, not going to be super carrying here in the late game compared to Dove on the other side.
Oh, Summer goes in, gets Summers, might just die here. Yep, goes into the Guardian Angel. What is the backup here? Will we see a commitment from Dove? He could try something. Flash is used. The ultimate from Xin Zhao doesn't interrupt to like the home run we saw from Score yesterday. But there's another time where SANDBOX have tried for something and been repelled. Pike to the bench, I believe, for SANDBOX in the future. Joker the only one with the right side. OnFleek looking for the kick of destiny if it's onto the Varus. That's what it will be. But try a taxi here, has his kick up, will just kick in the Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao down without Pike there. But Lindarang also was picking up minions, so Malrang goes for the Zonias. The R is too early once again, and death from below, first kill onto the Xin Zhao. Now it's 5v4. Now the minion wave in bot needs to be answered. The Baron buff should be free in this regard. SANDBOX Gaming, it is that anemic way to win a game against Jin Air, but it has been won in the past. It's a tanky Baron, but you wouldn't know it with just how much damage SANDBOX can put out.
Props to OnFleek for making the play happen. Otherwise, it was really all up to the poke of Dove, and he can't exactly hard engage by himself, so really OnFleek putting in the heavy lifting this time around, and with that Baron after 40 minutes.
Yeah, 5v4, OnFleek playing with his food again, just kicks the Corki away. That guarantees the target. They would have got it anyway, he didn't know. TP flank coming in, Lindarang can pull this off. When would be spotted? They know now. They see a Tahm Kench, they're probably expecting worse. It's straight onto Ghost, but he's able to get away. In this particular case, his flash still up, he's fine. Lindarang dies instantly. Malrang still to respawn. OnFleek falling low, but that's 3 inhibitors down, Valdez. And now it feels like just with all of this, by hook or by crook, feels like SANDBOX have done it in game #1. Looking for the hook, they get Malrang. He ults early, his health bar still high, death from below available in case you're wondering. From Summit, Ghost is hitting the towers, and isn't he doing damage? Jin Air can do nothing. Dove has to flash away. He's low. OnFleek in the backline. They're going to pick up a single kill already. That's 2. This should be the victory for SANDBOX. I'll let you do the honors, Valdez. SANDBOX, it took 50 minutes, but they've done it.
They finally did it here. GG is going to be the end of game 1. As, well, I know who my MVP is going to be. OnFleek once again, just impressing everybody in the building, getting the oohs and ahs. Maybe not from me, as I'm on my last legs here, but from the Korean casters and from Papa, this guy absolutely will get our MVP vote.
Look, I've watched enough Tahm Kench and been around LS enough to be able to read croaks. Your croaks were croaks of appreciation. You wanted to be shouting out all manner of Valdez-isms. You did what you could, appreciate it, buddy, in game #1, and that's kind of how the glass half full SANDBOX coach should be, but I hope there's a good cop, bad cop thing going on, because if I'm 6-1, I look at this and say, guys, you've lost in my eyes. I don't care what the scoreboard or the Nexus exploding says. SANDBOX Gaming, it's a little bit too cheeky. You see an OnFleek there and a smiling little Ghost. Looks like Casper in the bottom right there. I believe that one could be in Pac-Man. And on the Rift, SANDBOX made a lot of mistakes. Jin Air, bless their hearts. They went mid a lot, but they went mid a lot, and SANDBOX just couldn't work out how to stop this mid lane defense. They didn't have it there. The SANDBOX fans, we see the happy ones, and the sad ones are probably keyboard warriors at this point. They're at home. They're in that Twitch chat. They're not feeling good, but there's a Joker fan in the audience, and maybe even a Joker family member.
Could be. Good drawing there. Definitely a 10 out of 10 we'll give it. I was kind of surprised to see Dove sprint into the coach's room and immediately want to look at the replay. Very curious to see what exactly you wanted to see, but He was right out of the chair and immediately in there. So
now I want to record a segment where I'm like the coach of SANDBOX, the really loud one. And I'm like, guys, gather over here, look at this. And it's like my first place in my TFT game. Then I tab out and I'm like, that was garbage. What are you guys doing? You almost lost to Jin. It was 50 minutes and the only way you got in was by one single macro play. Like, this is definitely when you pull a Wall Street or something and turn it on them. Probably not what's actually going to happen. Maybe the tender loving care is acquired. Pop's not a coach, by the way, but apparently a play-by-play caster. Give me a score out of 10. What did I get, Valdez?
It was actually good. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yes, I'll take pleasantly surprised.
There were some moments where I was like, wow, that was actually pretty good. I feel like your voice went more and more Aussie as well. Like the deeper you went in, so I was happy about that.
I'll take a participation medal. Turns out Monty could do it, Pop can do it. Guys, thank you very much for joining us for game number 1. We'll keep working on this, man. Hopefully we got some more impressive League of Legends from one of our favorites, SANDBOX Gaming versus Jin Air. SANDBOX lead 1-0 going into the first break.
나 피어 없어. 나
해볼래? 해볼래?
야,
해야지. 그래 해.
나 공으로 채워줄게 얘들.
나국 돌았다 얘들아.
미드. 이걸로 해.
진짜.
그쵸? 스타플 있을 거야.
천천히 봐봐. 와우.
타워.
나 피업 돼.
한번 빨아야 되고.
나 타워 깨줘.
오케이. 좀만 입술 끝났다. 다 왔어 얘들아.
야, 볼까 이거?
아니야.
야, 바로
끝났다. 피업 끝났다.
싸움 보다 이거.
뭐야 이거? 바로스 너플. 나이스.
아,
아, 실수냐.
와. 급해 우리가 나 그냥.